Hey everyone, it's Hannah and it's time for another Craftea Chat. Welcome to episode 3 of the Craftea Chat podcast, and I need to try really hard to stop looking at the viewfinder and actually start looking at the camera lens, but I'll get there. But yes, for those of you who aren't aware, my Craftea Chat podcasts are once a fortnight, so once every 2 weeks. And they are just a little bit about knitting and crochet and any other crafts that I have happened to be doing, although it's predominantly been knitting and crochet right now. I kind of stopped with the beadwork for the time being, but it's not completely forgotten, it's still embedded. But yes, thank you very much for watching, any of you, even if you're new. If you're not new, I hope that you have a cup of tea in front of you. I do, in my crafty mug, and maybe that my friend painted for me because she's super talented, and I show this off in most of my podcasts, and I would say sorry, but I'm not actually sorry because, you know, it's an amazing mug. If I'm out of focus at any point, I apologize. I don't have my glasses on, so I'll try really hard. But yes, hello, I am Hannah. I'm from Britain, but I'm currently residing in Frankfurt, Germany, which is where I'm coming at you from today. It is the 8th of December. It's getting very close to Christmas now. 2 weeks and then I go back to England to my parents for Christmas, 2 weeks today, so that's exciting. It's kind of a chilly, cold, grey day today. We've had a little bit of snow here in Frankfurt, not enough for it to settle, but enough for me to get excited about the snow because I haven't seen a lot of snow in my life growing up. I grew up by the seaside. And yeah, I'm the Corner of Craft on most social media. Got a little box pop up and to show you where I am, the Corner of Craft. And we also have a Ravelry group, which is the Craftea Chat podcast Ravelry group. If you search for Craftea Chat podcast or check the description box below and click the link there, it'll take you to the podcast group, and that's where I write up notes and whatnot. And people outside are being noisy, so apologies for that. Not a lot I can do about it. My tea is too hot. Also, that's an unpleasant tea. So I got an advent calendar from my sister. I technically got it for my birthday, which was back in September, but she brought it out to me when she came to visit. This weekend is gone because my family came out to visit. This weekend is gone. And I realise now that I probably should keep the boxes in, but I've been throwing them out as I go because, well, that's the kind of gal I am. But you get a tea bag in each one. And on the back it lists all the flavours, which is kind of a spoiler, but I've done really well not looking at it. My sister said that there is only 13 different flavours though, so that's really sad. And the tea that I have right now is yesterday's tea, and it's just a breakfast special. And what's today's tea? It's really hard to get these boxes out. There we go. Silent Night is the name of the tea. It's organic green tea with cinnamon, ginger, with cinnamon, ginger, peppermint, and rose petals. So I will probably enjoy that later. It's just quite a nice little advent calendar. I really wanted David's tea one, so maybe that will be next year. And there are people seriously struggling outside with suitcases and children. Very confused. And I'm just gonna plow on through. So we've got whips and hoes to start with, which is works and in progress and half objects. If you're new, you won't know this, but I am making Christmas presents for people, which is great, but I'm really fed up with doing it now because I'm desperate just to, you know, do some selfish knitting. I have a half object. It's just a basic vanilla sock in the Regia yarn, both the heel cuffs and toes, and the body of the sock, Regia 4-ply. The main body is Regia colour 03726, which is apparently called Exotic. And then heel cuffs and toes is Regia Baby Smiles 01053 in sky blue. And this is the sky blue. It just comes in a little thingy. I thought I'd bring it over, even though it's not attached. And then they are the socks I'm currently working on. But I'm kind of slowing down on working on these because I can work on these in social situations, whereas the other things I'm working on I can't quite do so socially. So I'm not quite so stressed out about these. Also, because these are going to Mary's mum, who I'm not seeing till after Christmas. And I'm really sorry about all the noise outside, but there's not a lot I can do. But yeah, they're going to my in-laws. Mario is my boyfriend. They're going to my in-law, and yeah, after Christmas. So I have quite a lot of time still to work on them. I just kind of wanted to get them done because I really want to do some selfish knitting. Especially with some of the yarn that I have acquired. More on that later. But I don't know if it's the cold weather. I don't know if it's because I've been outside a lot more this weekend than I have been before. But my hands are just so dry. So I don't know if that's the yarn. I don't know if that's being outside. I'm not quite sure what it is. But very dry hands right now. Frustrating. I need to get some like better hand cream. And then the ongoing project that a lot of people are doing. We're on the cozy memories. So it's grown quite a lot since I last showed you. When I last showed you, I only had the up to this orange one, so I only had these squares done, these 6, and then I added some more. I have started. Oh, it's this way up. I have started sewing in my ends. So I sew in. For example, I will sew this brown one into this brown square, but I'm leaving one end because when I join the row above, I might need to close that corner up because I haven't gone onto a row above yet, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. But yeah. I got some minis in the post, so I have added them to the blanket, and I will go into that a bit more in fattening up my stash. But it's really fun. I've got more colours now. I think I've got 12 squares, so I've doubled the length of my cozy memories, and I've got some more fun colours in now, and it's definite. You can definitely see a difference in the quality of yarn just by the definition of the decreases in the middle. So this is the what's it called? The Coziest Memory pattern by Kemper from the Junk Yarn. Yeah, she dyes and sells yarns and also has a podcast. But yeah, super simple to do. I know a lot of people do different variations of the mitered square, but I'm just doing a basic, the basic one because I'm not as attuned to knitting as other people, so I haven't been able to make up my own. But I'm having a lot of fun and I think they're really cute, and I'm really glad that I've got some more colours in because this side was looking a little bit drab and then this side is a bit more exciting. I was worried that all my squares would be the same colour because I always use the same colours when I make things. Oh, that's my phone. Let me pop that on Do Not Disturb. There we go. I just finished watching Chelsea and Sue's podcast from last night, I guess they uploaded. It was while I was asleep. So that's why my phone's here. Also, I forgot to mention the jumper that I'm wearing is actually a hand knit, not by myself, by my amazing mother who is ace at knitting. I have a feeling this jumper maybe 6 or 7 years old. I can't remember if I had it before I went to university or not. It's a potential. I potentially got it at uni. So it's either 6 or 7 years old. It's a pretty old one. But I really like it. And it was just a huge ball of yarn that came in like a gradient. And the pattern was on the band, you know, around the ball of yarn. I have no idea what yarn it is. I have no idea if it's even got any wool in it. I have no idea what pattern it is because it was before I was really interested in all of this. But I do know that I have a little toy monkey that I've had for a number of years now. And out of the leftover yarn, Monkey got a jumper as well. So we've got matching jumpers. Although he's at the moment wearing his Christmas jumper because my mum made him a Christmas jumper a couple of years back. And maybe I'll show that in next week's, or in my next podcast. But anyway, speaking of Christmas, going on a tangent, my other work in progress is possibly the cutest little thing I've made in a while, but it's so far only a head and a body. But I'm making a reindeer. When I wrote up these notes last night, it was amigurumi reindeer, and all it was the head, as in it had eyes and the head. It didn't have antlers, didn't have ears, and it didn't have a nose, had no body. And I probably could have finished this last night, but I was in a very indecisive mood last night. But yeah, it's really cute. So I made this unicorn a while ago, which in comparison to this, I now dislike this unicorn. The hook I used was too big. I think I used a 4mm hook, whereas this one I'm using a 3.5, and it's a lot more stable. It's a lot smaller, as you can see, but it's also a lot, I don't know, it's a lot sturdier. I may have also stuffed it more, I can't decide. But yeah, this pattern, I'm using the same pattern for both of them, which is why I'm comparing them. So it's the pony pattern by Stephanie Jessica Lau. It was for Year of the Horse, which was a couple of years ago now, 2004. I know this because I too am Year of the Horse, born in 1990. And so that's when that pattern was released. And then I just kind of made up some antlers and sewed them on, and made up a nose and sewed it on. But I am following that pattern for the rest of it. But my mum saw the unicorn and said, you need to make a couple of those for, well, they're kind of my cousins. They're my mum's cousins' grandchildren, two little girls who are obsessed with both My Little Pony and unicorns. So she said, can you make them that for Christmas? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And this was before I'd started Christmas crafting. And then Mum hadn't said anything else, and I kind of forgot about it because that's who I am. And then she came this weekend and asked if I was going to be making them. And then there are also two little boys that are the same relation, but they are the cousins of these two little girls. Does that make sense? I feel like I should, yeah. Anyway. And they're not as into unicorns. So it's not that I'm being sexist with my toy choices, it's just that they aren't as into unicorns. So I'm making little reindeers instead, because they're really cute. And I fear they might be a little bit young for them. The two girls are 3 and 5, and then the two boys are 1, almost 2, and 3. No. I know 4 and 6, and the girls are 4 and 6, and then the boys I think are almost 2, or 1 and 4. Can't remember. Anyway, so they might be a little bit young for them. So even if they're just sat as decorations, but I'm making sure that everything is really well sewed on. I'm using safety eyes, and I can't get the back off these for anything, so hopefully it's not a choking hazard. I always get worried about these things because I haven't had an awful lot of contact with children and babies over the years. I was the youngest of my cousins until I was 10. And then I even didn't see my next two cousins that much. And they are old now. Well, they're not old. Like 16 and 14, which they're not babies anymore. So I always get a bit freaked out around babies because I never know what to do. But yeah. This is the cutest thing, and I'm really sad I have to give him away. But I also have another one to make, and then 2 unicorns. So I should get him finished today. We'll see. I really want to drink my tea, but I made it too late. I should have made it while I was putting my makeup on, but I didn't, and now my tea's too hot, and I really want a sip of tea, but I don't want to burn my tongue. Struggles. So, like I said, I'm making presents for everyone. So these are for Maria's stepmom. And I've named these my Berry Blast socks. And I'm not quite sure why. But I finished these. I was working on these last time I spoke to you. But it's this amazing red and pink. No. Well, it's kind of like a reddish pink, but it's not red. I meant to say purple. Purple, pink and grey sock. And this one doesn't have ends sewn in yet. But they don't match. And I'm really alright with it. And yeah. This is also in Regia because Regia is readily available. I wanted something that would last, and this voice feels quite stable. Plus, because I'm making gifts for people that aren't like hardcore yarn fans, I don't want to spend lots of money that I don't have on yarn that isn't going to be not appreciated, but I don't want to spend 20 euros on a skein of yarn to make a pair of socks for someone who doesn't understand that that skein of yarn cost 20 euros. Does that make sense? I don't want to sound like I'm being like ungrateful, but yeah. So this is Regia. The main body of the colour is Regia Monaco colour, which is in 01839, which is Larvato Ringlet. And then heel cuffs and toes is Regia Baby Smiles 01036 in pink. And I mean, the pink doesn't match perfectly. It's not as good a match as the sky blue with the exotic, but it goes enough. And hopefully she will like those. And I'm just desperate to do some selfish knitting. That's too much to ask. Also, I feel these may be different. Oh no, they're not different foot lengths. I panicked for a second. Then I have another finished object that you wouldn't have seen as a work in progress because it was just kind of sat back here on the black ball of crochet cotton I've got there. Then I was watching Andre's Sue Knits with Sue from Legacy Knits podcast. They're doing a sweater spin, and I have zero interest in spinning, but also find it quite interesting. As in, no interest in doing it myself. I'm very interested in finding out more about it, curiosity's sake. But they were also talking about delving into the crochet rabbit hole of their granny stripe blanket. And Sue mentioned how she wanted to try doilies, and I love making doilies. And I had this one on the hook, and I had actually remembered what pattern it was and what row it was, and I'm not going to be able to show you well, so I might have to put a picture in. But I made a black doily, which they look right. This is the Baroque Inspirations doily, and I forgot to write down who the pattern designer was, but I'll pop it on the screen. This is the thing about doilies, is they look super complicated and difficult, but I've never followed a chart for doilies. I always just follow the written pattern, and they're not that bad. And I'm thinking I might want to do like a doily along in the new year, because I see a lot of knit alongs and I see a few crochet alongs, but I don't see a lot of crochet alongs. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be awkward and put my leg up here because I want to sit comfortably. I don't see a lot of crochet alongs, but that could also be because I watch more knitting podcasts than crochet podcasts. But I want to start hosting craft alongs, and thought a doily along would be a real good one because I've not seen that before on what I've watched. And I do adore making doilies. I get great satisfaction out of it, and I've made a lot of them. Plus I blocked cotton for the first time. I've made a lot of doilies, but I don't usually block them, and they're just kind of sat in a drawer over there, and I'm just kind of like, I should block them. But I actually blocked cotton for the first time, and I did it the same way that I block acrylic, which is great fun. So I got my ironing board out and turned my iron on. I popped a towel down on the ironing board. I pinned everywhere I needed to, so the points of the picot got pinned, I think, and I just pulled it out so it was nice and even. Then I just steamed it with my iron. You can't, as far as I'm aware, I might be wrong, you cannot do this with any yarn that has wool in it because it will felt it because of the sudden shock of temperature change. But you can do it for cotton and acrylic. Cotton, you can touch the iron to it if you want to. I just don't want to. But acrylic, you obviously can't do that because it's plastic and will melt. But really nice, really easy, really fun. I started this back in July. And then I've also got another one on the go, which I suppose I should include as a work in progress, but I can't remember what the pattern's called. But I have it saved on my tablet, so if I plug my tablet in and charge it up, I should be able to finish it. And how I store my crochet is I kind of stuff it inside of the thing, which is terrible. And this is the second thing I have tried to make using this crochet cotton. I had a significant chunk of a doily made, and then we moved here and I looked at it and I tried so hard to find what pattern it was. But because I'm terrible, I'm so much better now. I was terrible at having project pages for things. I ended up frogging it, which is really sad. But I got this one on the go, which is in this amazing turquoise colour. And I started this in the summer. I took it to a knit night a couple of times, and then I got into knitting, so I kind of dumped it. But I will plug my tablet in and find out what pattern it is and actually save it, because I feel like that will be a useful thing to do. I think this is going to need quite heavy blocking, quite a lot of pinning, but fun, you know. I like doing things in unusual colours. You don't really see a lot of turquoise doilies around. Also, I found out that, you know, when you make like paper snowflakes, where you cut out you fold it and then you cut snowflakes. If your snowflake is more than 6 points, it's a doily. And I didn't know that, which sounds really stupid, because I feel like that is like a fact that you should know. And my dad was just like, how could you not know that? Snowflakes always have 6 points. And it's just like, it's not that I didn't know, it's just that I didn't think about it, you know? I don't know, maybe that's just me. And I feel like my tummy's gonna rumble because I haven't eaten yet today, and it's 5 to 1. Anyway, moving on to fattening up my stash, which I didn't have anything for last time, but now have quite a lot. So it was a little bit of an overwhelming week, which was amazing. So let's start at the beginning. So first off, I bought, when Black Friday happened, or Cyber Monday or whatever, they've started to bring Black Friday to the UK, which I have a major problem with. Which I know a lot of people see as unnecessary, that I have a problem with it, but there's no reason for the UK to have Black Friday. But anyway, I do appreciate all the deals and amazing offers that people are doing, which is pretty incredible. So I bought this skein of yarn by Truly Hooked. She had a 25% off coupon code, which essentially meant I got free shipping. That's how it worked out. Basically, the shipping cost was deducted from this. Does that make sense? Which is amazing. And it's by Truly Hooked, the Lovely Verity. And it is this absolutely stunning colour. So this is in her yak sock base, which I think is called like luxury sock or something. I don't know. The colourway is called Engaging. And it's 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 10% yak. And it's 400 meters per 100 grams. And it is so soft. And I did a bit of research after I bought it, which is stupid because I should have done it beforehand, but I got a bit overwhelmed and excited about yak. And because I wasn't sure how soft it would be. And apparently it is as soft as cashmere, but like twice as warm or something. So this should be good. And I was planning on making a silver shawl out of it, because I have the pattern for it, because I think it's a free one, or it was free for some time and I got it, I can't remember. But then I thought, do I really want to just have a one skein shawl? And the answer is no. So I think I'm going to get some black, or some, I don't think it is grey actually. I was going to get grey, but there's grey in it, so I might just get some really soft black and do something with it, and it will look really nice, because I want it by my face because it's really soft, and I don't want to rub my face on it because I have makeup on. But yeah, this is the first part of fattening up my stash, which is pretty incredible. Then I did get your yarn wishes granted, and I mentioned it last week, and one of my yarn wishes was to get a skein of Truly Hooked yarn, and I just granted my own yarn wish with money I probably shouldn't have spent, but you know, that's one of those things. And a couple of lovely ladies messaged me and said, I'll send you some mini skeins for your cozy memories, and I said thanks. So Kingfisher Knits sent me some, and I've used all bar one because I started knitting with it next to the light pink, and the dye was running on my hands, and I thought I shouldn't be using dark navy blue next to pink if the dye is coming off on my hands as I knit. So I unpicked it, but she sent me 5 little skeins, and there's an amazing dark blue that I'm desperate to use, but any tips on how to stop it running would be very much appreciated. But yeah, I just sent a little postcard with all the details on what each yarn was. This one's hedgehog fibers. This is, I'll say Nora George, and then I can't remember what these two are. I have a feeling this one's got silk in it, which is super soft. My voice is going, too much excitement. And then green lambkin. These are their Instagram names, by the way. Green Lambkin sent me some amazing minis. I'm not going to show you them all. I'm just going to show you the ones that she's dyed. Because she is a yarn dyer. And I should have got this organised first. Because she sent me so many minis. And I put a picture on Instagram. And I now have a bag of minis, which is incredible. But you've got this one, which is Gingerbread Cottage. Yeah. And she's a UK yarn dyer, based in Derbyshire. And then this is Candy Cane Forest, and I love all things Christmas, and kind of wish I had, sorry for the focusing fail. So I kind of wish I had more money so I could buy full skeins of these and knit Christmas socks, but I can't, so that isn't hers. And then this one doesn't have a colour name, but it's also by her. And it's these gorgeous red and pinks with sparkle in it. So stunning. So I'm really excited to knit them into my blanket. And Green Lambkin yarns came to me on Tuesday, and I just said goodbye to my parents who had flown back to, and my sister and auntie who I'd popped on a train to the airport to fly back to England, and I was feeling a little bit glum, a little bit sorry for myself after having 5 days of being around people to all of a sudden having nobody. I get a little bit emotional when my family leave, but then I got a knock at the door and I got all these yarns and I felt much better about my life. So that is something that's really sparked me to knit on my squares more, because I actually have yarn to knit. Then I'm gonna have a sip of tea and gonna restart the video because my camera's gonna cut out any second. One sec. I live sort of across the way from another knitting podcaster who I think I've mentioned in pretty much all of my podcasts so far, so why stop the tradition? Soprano Knits, her name is Becky. She's Soprano Knits on Ravelry and Instagram, and she does the Stringing It Together podcast. And she's basically my yarn pimp, or she's quickly becoming my yarn pimp. Amy from the Periscoping Sisters podcast messaged Becky and said, I would like to send some yarn to both you and to Hannah, which is me, and is that okay? And it is more than okay. And then Becky went to London last weekend, and then she came back and messaged me and she said the yarn is here. And so I looked like rubbish and went over and didn't take my camera and got a little overwhelmed, and it was a bit stupid and I should have taken my camera and filmed it, but Becky filmed some of it, so head on over to her podcast that she uploaded on Tuesday and you can see some footage. But I looked like rubbish because I had a sty in my eye, I hadn't washed my hair, and it was just, I wasn't planning on leaving the house that day, and then I had to because yarn. Anyway, Amy overwhelmed us immensely with some incredible yarn. She sent some minis, 2 of which I've used. We kind of split the minis in half because Becky is going to be making a granny stripe blanket. For those of you who don't know what a granny stripe is, this is a granny stripe. It's a little sneak peek for Sunday's tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to make a granny stripe. It's already filmed, it's already edited, and it's already uploaded and ready to post on Sunday. But anyway, because I've got friends visiting this weekend, so I'm trying to be honest. Anyway, distractions. Yeah, so because the yardage for her isn't as important as, you know, I need to get a square out of it, I'm going to knit a square and then give her the leftovers. And I have a bag of leftovers that I started making for her. And I don't know if she's going to want all of them or if she's going to be like, thanks. Because I don't know how much she needs. But even some of these, because I don't want to repeat squares. I mean, in an ideal world, I won't repeat any squares on this. But so I've got leftovers from these as well. So I've popped them in the bag together as well. So hopefully they'll be useful. Anyway, Amy from the Periscoping Sisters podcast sent some incredible yarn and sadly didn't actually say this one's for Hannah and this one's for Becky. So we're both overly polite and just kind of sat there looking at it and being like, oh, we have to decide who gets what, and it was a bit intense. But because I'm very new to the yarning world, I'm a little bit ignorant with yarn dyers, so it's a benefit to Becky. But I also got some amazing yarn because all of the yarn that was sent was incredible, and I'm really excited to show you. So the first skein, well, this is the first skein that I got, which is by Sweet Georgia. It is Tough Love Sock in the colourway Mirror Pond, which is so lovely. And I almost put these together, but the blues don't quite match, and I think this would be better suited with something a bit darker, like a charcoal. Ooh, a charcoal. I might have to do some online research for a charcoal, especially because Sue and Chelsea have just announced that they're going to be doing a shawl knit along. But I can't buy any more yarn until I've started knitting on something because my paper bag of yarn is full. I could just upgrade it to a tote bag. That would be the sensible. Anyway, yeah, back to this. So it's this absolutely amazing. It's on her Tough Love sock, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon. Superwash merino, sorry. 338 meters, and it's 115 grams, which is an odd quantity. Oh, because it's 4 ounces, because it's in ounces. Now it's less odd. I work in grams. Anyway, it's absolutely stunning. It looks like there are just some undyed parts, and then this lovely teal colour, and this bright green, and then this like khaki green. Can't really describe it as anything else. And really nice. I was going to say sludgy green, but that makes it sound unpleasant, but it isn't unpleasant. It's really pleasant. And I don't know what I'm going to make with it. I feel like hand-dyed yarn is too nice to knit socks out of, except for my souvenir socks, which is a thing that I've talked about before. But yeah, it's so lovely. And then she sent a skein of yarn by Yarn Cafe Creations, which was my boyfriend's blue jeans. And I really wanted that yarn, and so did Becky. So we ended up doing a coin toss, and I lost the coin toss. But it did mean that I got to pick one of the two Knit Picks Imagination, which is alpaca yarn, and I picked this one. So this is Mermaid Lagoon. This is the colourway Mermaid Lagoon. 50% merino, 25% alpaca, 25% nylon. It's 50 grams, and you can see a bit of fuzz. It's amazing. And I actually have a scarf that I bought. I might go get the scarf. 1 second. So I bought this scarf. It needs an iron, I'm aware. I bought this scarf 10 years ago when I visited my cousin in Paris. 10 years ago? 11 years ago. She went when she was 21. She's 5 years older than me. 21 take off 2 is 96. 10 years ago. Maths. And it's these colours. And I mean, it's looking a little bit worn and a bit old because I've worn it pretty much every winter for 10 years because I love it. And it's got catches, although that's part of the design. It's just a bit rubbed. It's a bit old. It's been well loved and well used, but these go really well together. Don't you think? It's like perfect. So I'm gonna make mittens. I've never made mittens, and they're alpaca, so they'll be real warm. I think that's what alpaca's meant to be. But I can't get over how perfectly that goes with the thing. So mittens, because I said to Becky, oh, I don't really know what to make out of 50 grams of yarn, and Becky suggested mittens, and that's a really good shout. So that is what I'm making, and I can't get over how good that matches. Oh, so I'm gonna have some amazing pair of mittens. So I'm trying to find the perfect mitten pattern for these, because I can't work out if it's stripy or not. I don't think it is. I can't work it out, but it says it's, yeah, so fingering weight, and so I need to find some good mitten patterns. So any suggestions are welcome. Send them over. I want like proper mittens, not fingerless, proper ones, because I have so many pairs of fingerless mittens and it's so cold here at the minute. So cold. And then, I'm really enjoying this tea. Glad I put sweetener in it. Then, so I may not have got my boyfriend's blue jeans, which I am sad about because it's a stunning colour. But I did get this one as well, which is also by Yarn Cafe Creations. And it's in the colour Rail Car. And this colour is so far out of my comfort zone, I can't even tell you. Which is why I'm kind of glad I got it. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 100 grams, 400 meters. Braille car. And it's like, it looks, I don't know if it's just wound loosely, but it's such a chunky ball of yarn, or just chunky skein of yarn. But this colour is so far out of my comfort zone, because I always go for colours like this, like jewelry tones or teals, or not orange. And this is quite orange, and I'm really excited to knit with it. Like I said, it's out of my comfort zone, but I'm really excited to knit with it. I kind of want to look up, and because I looked up and saw what this yarn looked like knit up when I was trying to find something to put this with, because Becky suggested these together, and I looked to see what this would look like knit up, and I really like it. I just don't think it will go with this, but I don't really want to look up and see what this knits up like, because I don't want to ruin it for myself. I gotta find another yarn to pair it with, and then I think I'm gonna have to, or do I make a hat? I don't really want to make a hat. Do I want to make a hat? Can't decide. So yeah, I need to find either a yarn that goes with it to put with it, or I need to find something to knit with it. But it's just the squishiest little yarn ever. Just, oh, look how lovely they are. And yeah, sure, they're all of a similar colour scheme, but they're just so nice. Oh, I love them. So that is my fattening up my stash, and then I've got like a bag of minis now. This is like a mixture of both Green Lambkins and Amy's from the Periscoping Sisters. And speaking of the Periscoping Sisters, that moves me right along onto podcaster recommendations. I need to keep like watching new podcasts, and I like to talk about different other podcasts that I enjoy watching, because when you are first getting into the world of knitting podcasts, which I kind of am, it can be a little bit overwhelming to all of a sudden be like, ah, there's so many to watch. And then if you get a recommendation from someone, it usually means that, you know, they're watchable. But I have already mentioned all of these people in this podcast already. But the first, because I recommend 3, and I don't know if I'll be able to keep this up forever, be able to recommend 3. I might have to cut it down. But I'm currently 3. So first off, the Periscoping Sisters podcast. I've been watching them for a few weeks now. They are sisters, Debbie and Amy. One lives in, I just got a really weird look from a woman out the window, so that's awkward. One lives in, I want to say Georgia, and one lives in California. I might be wrong, but they either Skype or FaceTime, and then they record it as they're doing it. And it's really fun to see them interact, and they're really funny people, and they knit such lovely things. and they're just really nice and I enjoy watching them. I watch them and then I feel quite happy afterwards, and that's kind of what you want when you're watching an knitting podcast. You don't want to watch it and feel like it's hard work and it's like it's difficult to watch. And hopefully you don't feel that way about this and you're not sort of clicking through it. But then there's Andre Sue Knits, which is hosted by Andy, who, first off, she just seems like a very lovely lady, but she's just so talented. It's quite awe-inspiring, really. I know I will, I don't think, I might not, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be able to craft like her. But that's what makes it so good to watch, because you watch and she paints these amazing sock blanks and she's doing the sweater spin and it's just quite inspiring. And she just seems like quite a nice person. And then finally, it's the Legacy Knits podcast, which is hosted by Chelsea and Sue, who are mother and daughter. And once again, they either FaceTime or Skype or something, and then they record it and post it. And they posted a new one last night, which was quite entertaining to watch, and I enjoy it. But yes, Sue is, well, both Chelsea and Sue are really funny. Sue has been crocheting and knitting for years, so it's quite nice to watch someone who also crochets as well as knits. And Chelsea, I believe, is newer to knitting, but I might be wrong. By newer, I mean like a couple of years, so not that new. But she's recently finished her first jumpers, because she made a cardigan and a jumper. And I like watching people who are also quite new to knitting, because it kind of shows me that I need to step it up a gear and stop knitting socks. But it's quite inspiring to watch other new knitters as well, because it just kind of shows me the kind of stuff that I can do. But yeah, I really enjoy these 3 podcasts. They are entertaining to watch and they make really lovely things, and yeah, hopefully that is a nice list of recommendations for you. Someone commented on either my last podcast or the one before saying that they like the fact that I recommend other podcasts to them, so you're welcome. Next up, I'm going to be talking about just my life in general and the Corner of Craft YouTube. So if this isn't something you're interested in, I won't be offended if you don't stick around. Just don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and to subscribe. New podcast every other week. And link to the Ravelry group can be found in the description box if you want more information on any of the things that I've talked about. But yes, moving along. So I'm not going to do a future knits because I've done that and I haven't started any of them, so it's kind of redundant to do them each week. Or dream knits, like future knits and dream knits, it's kind of redundant to do them if I'm then not going to knit them, you know. So Corner of Craft YouTube, I kind of took a week off unintentionally. I had every intention to film, but I didn't know what to film last Thursday, and then my parents came to visit. Oh, my family came to visit this past weekend, and I just wasn't in the mood to film a tutorial. I wasn't in the mood to force myself to film a tutorial, if that makes sense. So I had a bit of a me week. I have to do that sometimes. I think otherwise I'll just run myself into the ground, and that's not fun. But I did make a teeny tiny yarn hat, which hopefully I've got a picture of, which is really easy, and you can use scraps of yarn, you can use mini skeins, whatever, and a toilet roll tube, which is great. I used like pretty chunky wool for my tutorial, but you can use any thickness of yarn. And then this Sunday coming, as I've already mentioned, a lot of people are hopping on the granny stripe train, and my bracelet keeps getting caught in my jumper. I'm hopping on the granny stripe train, and I'm desperate to start crocheting one myself using the abundance of acrylic double knit that I have. At the same time, do I want to use acrylic double knit to knit a blanket? But I have so much in a stash per se. I need to use it up somehow, or I just need to go through it and chuck it, which is possibly what I might have to end up doing for some of them, because I've seemed to have inherited this yarn from my mum's given me some because I started crocheting a granny square blanket, and my roots look green in this light. Anyway, I started crocheting a granny square blanket, which I've got 2 on the go at the minute, and they're both in a box in my mum's house, in my mum and dad's house. And then, so she gave me yarn for that, and then Mario had done a bit of crochet in his past, and so I got some yarn from him. And then someone else that I used to live with, Matt, had done some crochet also in his past and gave me some yarn from that as well. So I've got quite a lot that I've inherited, not so much bought. But I don't know. But anyway, in Sunday's tutorial, I show you how to get started on your very own granny stripe. And I really like these colours I'm using. But I don't have enough to do a full blanket out of that. But they're just really pretty. And they go real well together. And you could wear it as a towel or a scarf or... Anyway, I've just done like a short sample of it. And I haven't sewn in the ends because I'm a terrible person. But yeah, so that's this Sunday's tutorial. So now, on to, you know, life chatter. As I mentioned, quite heavily, my family came to visit this past weekend. It was my mum's birthday on the 26th of November, and it's her 60th birthday. And back in July, way back before July, maybe April or May, my dad said about, you know, arranging the family to come out and look around Christmas markets and blah blah blah. Unfortunately, not everyone could make it, but they still came out and looked around the Christmas markets, and it was a lot of fun because I didn't go back for my mum's birthday, and had they not been coming out here, I would have gone back. But yeah, I ended up going to a house party instead, which was also a lot of fun. One of the girls who taught here last year, who left in the summer, came back and surprised one of our friends for her birthday. And none of us had any idea about it, so it was really nice to see her again. So that's what I did on my mum's birthday. Went out drinking. And so yeah, then my parents came out last weekend, and it was a lot of fun. We walked around the Christmas markets, and I did the whole touristy thing. Did a bit of Christmas shopping. Drank quite a lot of glühwein, and it was unbearably cold, and I had messaged everyone and to say, just to let you know, it's really, really cold at the minute, and still some people didn't bring enough layers and were complaining about the cold, and I was getting frustrated with people complaining and walking into every shop they could see, especially if they didn't want to go in the shop. Just deal with the cold. Sure, it got down to -5 at one point, but just deal with it. But now, this weekend coming, I've got one of my oldest friends. I think she is actually my oldest friend, other than my sister, obviously, but I've known her since I was 12. So it's not like we went to preschool together, but she's my oldest friend that I still am in contact with. She's coming out with her boyfriend tomorrow, actually, which I'm really excited about because she's coming out to do Christmas markets as well. And we've been invited around one of mine and Maria's friends. Well, I suppose they're a couple, so a couple of mine and Maria's friends' flats. And there's a postman here, so I'm a bit stressed. Not for me. Good to know. Yeah, she's coming with her boyfriend. Yeah, we've been invited to a party, like a Christmas jumper party. So I've told them that they have to bring out Christmas jumpers. So Saturday, we're having a Christmassy day, except for I think we're going to make sushi before going to this party, because they're coming early tomorrow morning, which means I need to tidy this flat tonight. They're coming early tomorrow morning, and so I think I'm going to do Christmas market during the day tomorrow. We go out for food in the Christmas market tomorrow evening, and then tomorrow during the day go across the river into Sachsenhausen, because I live really close to the river here, over to like a different part of Frankfurt where they have another Christmas market, and have a look around there. And then get bits for sushi, make sushi, and maybe get some alcohol so we can do some drinking while we're eating sushi. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I should be able to get one more podcast in before Christmas, and then I will have to have a couple of weeks off. So I'm in England from the 22nd until the 5th, I believe, of January. So the I can do a quick look. It depends if Mario booked flights for the Thursday or for the Wednesday, because I can't remember. He may have done Wednesday. So with that, I'm coming back either the 4th or the 5th. But I'm going the 22nd. So I should be able to record a podcast on the 21st to post on the 22nd when we're flying back. And then I will just have a couple of weeks off of podcasting, because knitting podcast is not something you can pre-record, which is kind of annoying. And it's sad that I'm gonna have to take a couple of weeks off, but at the same time, it means I have a lot to catch you up on when I come back. And I've got some really exciting things that I hope to do in 2017. But I will talk about that next time, because I don't want to ruin anything. Hopefully by next time I will have finished all of my Christmas presents. This is the goal. Get them all done and have caked up my yarn, ready to cast on a shawl or something, or I will be finishing that doily, or I will be doing something other than socks. But I'm trying to, I didn't actually knit throughout this crafty chat, which makes me feel a little bit sad. But I'm saving these because they're useful for knit night and also for when we go and watch American football on a Sunday. Whereas this is less useful because it's made up of lots of little bits that you then have to sew together. It's a real cute pattern. I really like it. I will stop going on about stuff that's irrelevant and I will leave because this podcast is far too long. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you who have been watching and commenting and enjoying this podcast. It really means a lot to me. I'm really glad that I started to do it because I feel like I'm actually getting a bit better at it now. Even though I've done a lot of sitting and chatting in front of a camera before, it's a bit different when you've got a bit of a structure to it. But I feel like I'm back to going off on a tangent and all of this fun stuff, which is something that I used to do in my old crafty chats, which used to just be like once a month and they were just a 20-minute chat. And yeah, so I'm really excited to cast on these mittens. Maybe that's something I'll do over Christmas. I'll see. Might have to get some needles so I can give Magic Loop a whirl. And yeah, that's everything I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button underneath this video for those of you who aren't aware and all of this fun stuff. It kind of helps me out a little bit if you do that. Not only does it let me know that you enjoy it, but it helps to get my video out there. And as YouTube is my sole source of income and doesn't pay that highly, the more views I get, the better. But yeah. And also feel free to hit that subscribe button. I post a craft tutorial like this every Sunday, and then you get a video on a Thursday, either a crafty chat or something else. I kind of go off the cuff and see what I feel like filming on those ones. Also, if you did enjoy this podcast and you know of somebody else that would also enjoy this podcast, don't forget to share it with them. Once again, getting the word out always helps a lot right now, well, there being Christmas and all. And yes, links to the Ravelry group and all of my social media can be found in the description box below. Show notes are on Ravelry and I might pop them in the description box below as well. Not entirely sure, I might just do them on Ravelry. I think I'll just do them on Ravelry. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me on this grey Thursday. Hopefully it's not grey where you are. And with all that being said, I shall see you very soon in Sunday's tutorial. Bye! Hey everyone, it's Hannah and it's time for another crafty chat. So Crafty Chat podcast episode 2. Welcome. If it's your first time viewing this podcast, I hope that you enjoy it.